second episode of the GP9 build, and I'm going to set the camera down where you can see. I'm not going to use the zoom because this camera is a POS and it's the only one I have. So if you'll notice, there's a gap right in there, and up here is a small piece of plastic that I didn't cut all the way off. It's actually, start right here, it's actually a small piece right here where this comes out. I'm gonna have to take that out too. I left part of this, and I left this little piece right here just in case I didn't show it. This little piece right here. I'm gonna have to take this out, and I'm gonna leave that, but with the cab sitting on it, if you notice, I don't know if this camera will show it or not, but it's actually sitting upward, and it's because this piece right there, this piece right there is pushing forward on the cab. It's going to leave a little gap in here. So I had an old piece of a high hood, excuse my hand, had a little piece of Canon high hood, one of those side pieces, and this is a soft plastic. It's fairly easy to cut, and I've cut little slivers to fill in that little section right there. They're probably maybe an 1/8 inch thick a piece. I'm going to glue them onto the side of the shell. Go ahead and take that off. Glue them onto the side of the shell. Now, the cab, once I cut the boxes, there's one of the boxes there. Once I cut the box off of it, the cab actually set down nicely, and the shell matches up to the top of the cab, and it looks right. According to what I've seen just on prototype pictures, it looks right. So it's just going to be a matter of me filling in. Get my pointer again. Just going to be a matter of me filling in this and taking this back off, making sure it sits right, and then I'm going to have to actually just tack it or tape it down to the, I'm going to tack it or tape it down here and then match this to it. And once I get the little slivers, let them dry overnight good and solid, and then I'll come back and I'll take a piece of my little sanding stick that I have, this 80 grit, and I will sand that down and make it fit tightly. Now once that's all done, the plan is to actually glue the long hood to the back of the cab, and that all be one solid uniform piece without gluing it down to the seal. Now that's the plan. Again, and I'm not trying to sell anything, but again, I've got to say, Big Dog's cabs, the way that fits in there, you see I didn't have to add anything to the lower part. Once I removed the battery boxes, take that out so you can see it. I removed the battery boxes, but they go down perfectly. I'm going to have to do a little sanding work right there. That's actually causing it to hang up on the inside of the battery boxes. But once I took those off, and again, I'm convinced this would have been the easier way to actually go, leaving these boxes on, because this is part of that factory seal, and it would just be difficult to cut those off and have this fit. So anyway, I thought about using part of the old high hood, or yeah, part of the high hood, to actually just cut a section of this off and then fill in the back of that with it. But that's going to be more trouble than what it's worth. So as far as it is, that's where I'm at, and I just wanted to kind of just drop in at this point and show you what ideas that I've had to come up with to make this all collaborate and go together like it's supposed to. So I'm going to go back to working on this and get everything glued in and cut away that I want to cut away and replace, and then I'll show you where I'm at there. So be back in just a little bit after these messages. Hello, I wanted to introduce myself. I am Mark Turner, CEO and founder of the Turner & Lewis Railroad. In 2012, I made the decision to start up my own freelance coal-hauling railroad. After the first locomotive, dressed in T&L black and yellow, rolled out of the paint shops, other freelance owners took notice and contracted our shops to paint their equipment. Our business is a growing business with the best customer service and safety record as we strive for excellence. We install LED and DCC in all types of locomotives. We will paint any locomotive, no matter from steamers to GE to Alco to EMD. We'll even take a crack at the foreign jobs. We can make them look new, used, weathered, light or heavy, rusted. We can even beat the you-know-what out of them. So if you've got that special project in mind, just look us up on Facebook at Turner & Lewis Railroad, where we paint them like you like them. Okay, so something just happened and I wanted to show you this. After I cut this piece off, I just went back to look, instead of go ahead and glue in those little pieces that I cut to fill in the gap. I just went on and put it all back together just to see what it looked like. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it actually links up pretty good there. I think that I can actually glue it like it is. I'm gonna have to remove this post. That post actually was part of the original cab that was on there, but I'm gonna have to remove that because that has nothing to do with this unit. It's not like a breather or anything. It's nothing important. Let's see here if I can zoom in. But if you look there, it's actually sitting in there pretty good. And I think that I can actually glue this thing together and put the cab and everything just like it's supposed to be. The front sitting pretty good. It's in line. The back is definitely in line. And another thing that I realized, that actually I was using the wrong seal. This particular seal had a couple of the clips that were broke away here and over here, where this one here didn't. So this shell goes with that seal. If you notice, this shell here is still all in one piece, and it's because I wanted to work with this one first just to get it started. Once I get this set the way I want it, I'm going to go back and then do that shell to match that shell. But like I said, I went on and cut this out, sanded it down a little bit, and the whole thing actually goes together just like it's supposed to. So again, you know, the cab is in scale. It's like it's supposed to be. I'm probably going to wind up, once I get this glued together and set, let me get this right. Before I glue this, I'm going to set it on the frame, where you know, on the chassis where the motor and the running gear is sitting, and make sure that everything is sitting level and then I'll probably strap it down there and glue it to ensure that everything here is straight. Then I'll go back, I'll put the interior and the glass, well, I'll go back and I'll paint it. I'll go back and I'll paint it, then I'll put the interior and the glass and all in there, and basically get that part of it together. I think the interior will go. I hadn't tried that yet. I will show that on camera. I'm planning on putting it back just like it was in the Genesis mode, but just with those different cabs on there. So yeah, it just a lucky strike. I'll tell you, I'm gonna wind up cutting this with a razor. You just have to be careful. You don't want to cut into the actual shell where you paint will show a cut or something. So yeah, I'm actually feeling better about it. And turn it around here where you can see this side. Once this thing gets actually strapped down like it's supposed to be, this will be one solid piece. Some people may like that, some people may not, but you still have this hatch for the access to your DCC, which won't be necessary. You know, another thing that I just thought about, those Genesis have got those big weights in the front. I may have to remove both weights off the front of the Genesis chassis to allow for that nose. I don't know yet. That'll be something else to video. Yay, got more stuff to video. So anyway, this is where I am. I'll be back shortly. Alright, so I now have the shell and the cab put together. And luckily, what happened, if you remember on the last little part, I was going to have to fill this area here in. Well, when I actually put the seal onto the chassis and cut this top piece that was right here away, it allowed the cab to come back, slide back that way, and everything basically made up. You can see there's very little gap. I checked to see if the interior was going to fit back in there, and it is. That's good news. So this is going to move along pretty quick, I think. I don't want to speak too soon. Turn around here so you can look at the other side. Desk is all junky. But there it is, you know. See, there's that little place there where it links up, and everything's sitting like it's supposed to. So yeah, we're actually doing pretty good. Not too bad at all. Gonna move on to the next one here in just a little bit. Try to get everything linked up. I wanted to show you this. It's might be interesting, but on this edge right here, on this little edge, it kind of had a curve in it where when it sat on this battery box, and it was from my cutting, it wasn't from anything Big Dog did, where it sat on this battery box, it was going to show a gap. So I actually had I used that old stuff that I'd cut last night off of the Canon nose and glued a strip of it right there and all the way around to refill it. And then I relined it and sanded it down with a flat file, and it actually made it to where it would sit on there nice and even. Sometimes you just gotta do a little body work, you know. But anyway, as we continue, I will come on back and show you more progress. So be right back. And then there were two. You notice that this step is gone. It's actually up there in the box. These snap on, and it came off in the soaking process. But that's neither here nor there. Just wanted to show you that I have them both cut down, both cabs cut down and set. Of course, you know, when I started with the first one, which is this one, this was the trial and error, and it was much easier to put this one together. And I actually have them sitting on the chassis. Okay, so the kind of the game plan is, and again, you know, not ever doing this before. This is, you know, I'm stumbling my way through it, but what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to get some rubber bands, and I'm going to glue the cab to the shell like I mentioned previously, and I'm going to run a rubber band around, well, let me just start with this one's closer, around here to pull this together, and then I'm going to rubber band it around here and around here to hold everything straight. Just by my figuring, there's nothing any straighter than the chassis itself. This thing sets down on the chassis, it's factory, nothing's been hacked, nothing's been cut. So once I strap this down to the chassis, that's the way this shell is actually going to fit. Another thing I wanted to show you, on the Genesis chassis, you actually have a weight that is removable in the front, and I had to remove that weight right there. This one here is removable in the back. This is where the speaker actually goes. So once he goes DCC sound, I will have to remove this weight and put the speaker, I think it goes face down right there and bolts in. But yeah, this is going to be the end of this video. I don't know, some of you guys may find this interesting, some of you may not. This is just what Turner and Lewis Shops does. This is what we do. And I figured you may want to, you know, take a sneak peek at how this is done. I haven't got to the rear of the locomotive yet, which is where the lights are. Get this light down here, maybe you can see it. Oh, that stupid phone. There we go. These lights are going to be cut off, and you really can barely see it there, but there's where the emergency beacon and all was. Those lights, those holes will be left. These will have to be filled up with putty. And we're going to put a bracket up there. We hadn't got it in yet. Which I'm still putting the cart before the horse. I've still got to put the breathers on, you know, the little drop down duct work that comes down there, and the tall smokestacks. Gonna get it ready to paint. So yeah, anyway, like I said, this is gonna be the last of this video. I hope you guys leave me a comment. I hope this is helpful somewhat. If you got any questions, by all means, leave it in the comment section. I do check that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with the third installment. So God bless you, and y'all come back now. Yeah.